You know, I was thinking about how we started GrantWatch, and everybody was trying, like, Libby, what grants available? What's grants available? You're retired now. Come on, help us out. And I knew the technology was there now. I really did. We started out as NYC Grants Watch. We kept going and going, and the response was phenomenal.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Always.
Everybody wanted, what grant is available? What's the next grant available? And we just kept going and growing. We ended up, there was a point where I added every country in the world, and then we had to pull it back because that didn't make any sense.
Right.
And now we're all of USA, every state. We are at the point where, so we're national, we're international, we have Canada, we have Israel, we have grants all over the place.
I was in high school when you started the business.
Right, I did some math the other day. You were 16.
Oh, wow.
And every single phone call that came in, we were driving, anywhere we went, I was taking the calls. The call went on speaker, and Leanne would go,
It's a little
say
scary
something, and
when you're
Leanne,
driving and picking up the phone.
well, I wasn't picking it up. It was on speaker, but you kept saying, talk about this category, talk about that category. We were just like,
all of the categories.
right. And everything I would forget, Leanne would give me a little nudge and say, go ahead. And she just grew up around grants, and now she's one of our star writers. I'm just so happy.
I'm Libby Heiken, founder and CEO of GrantWatch.com. GrantWatch is the leading grant website in the grant funding industry. GrantWatch is the #1 grant resource for nonprofits, foundations, corporations, small businesses, individuals, municipalities, and government agencies, and many more. We've helped thousands of entities obtain millions of new funding dollars through grant awards. Our research has helped fund community programs supporting the needy, special needs, mental health, farming and agriculture, veterans, homelessness, disabilities, arts, seniors, early intervention, education from preschool through higher ed, groundbreaking research in medicine and sustainable energy, and quality, replicable programs for the greater good.
There are thousands of organizations that are working for the greater good, trying to make a real difference within their communities and solving much needed problems. They all have one thing in common. They need to find funding to make their vision a reality. We are sharing with you the story of Sarah Maxwell, Assistant Provost at the University of Texas Dallas, an organization who needed funds for research. Sarah, why did you need a grant?
So, over the years, I've probably had over, at least $10 million in grants from federal, state, and, foundation funders. And, I started writing grants probably in 1993, which dates me a little bit. But over those years, I kind of developed the skills, and then I went into academia and writing those grants. I was writing for a nonprofit. And in that world, you write grants to fund the programs that you're running. So I developed those skills and then went on to academia. And now, as part of my job, research is really important. And one of the things that we're expected to do is to bring in money to the university. And so as a faculty member, I study tick-borne disease. And so I wanted to apply for grants in that area. And I've applied for quite a few, and then received one through GrantWatch through the Rita and Alex Hillman Foundation.
So how did you come to find out about GrantWatch?
I found out about GrantWatch.com because every time I was looking for a grant, GrantWatch would come up. And I thought, why don't I just pay the fee and get what I need? And it's so easy to use. I mean, I just love it. And it comes into my email already set up, here are the grants of interest to you in Texas, where I am. And I can just kind of scroll through it very easily and say, no. Oh, this one looks interesting. Click on it, log in. And in 2 seconds, I can determine if that's a grant for me or not.
And so how did GrantWatch actually help your research?
So GrantWatch helped my research because it's so easy to use, but I have found a number of foundations and other funding agencies interested in my work. And that work entails assessing tick-borne diseases, and particularly tick-borne diseases among vulnerable populations. So we had a grant called Nursing in the Fields, where we sent nurses and community health workers literally out to agricultural sites and fields to assess the possibility they might have tick-borne diseases, and also to inform them about the risks and about prevention. And so as part of that, even though they were not funding the research per se, we engaged in that program but collected data along the way. And those data are now in progress. They're being analyzed, and we're writing papers right now that will be submitted to peer-reviewed journals in the coming weeks. So it's funded my research in a number of ways and has helped my research agenda continue at the University of Texas at Dallas.
Sarah, what advice would you give to someone who is interested in getting a grant?
So I do have some advice. One, I would say think outside of the box. The grant that I had was not necessarily for assessing tick-borne diseases. It was actually a foundation that worked with nurses, and I used some nursing techniques and actually got some nursing textbooks out and read about some theories on nursing and applied those theories in my grant. So my grant application, it was really kind of outside of the box thinking in the way we implemented it. So that's one. There may be grants that exist out there that you don't think exist, but if you're creative, you can make it work. So that would be one. And then two, I would say use online resources to help, especially if you're not an experienced grant writer. I think it's the University of Kansas has something called the Community Toolbox. And if you're familiar with that, that's great. If not, you really should get on there and look, because it gives you the tools you need to write grants, do strategic planning, evaluations, developing smart objectives all of these skills are usually required in grant writing. And so using these types of online resources, and I think GrantWatch also has some of these same types of online resources that help people write grants. Use that and kind of adopt the language that you see from GrantWatch and from these other sites, so that you're writing it the way the funder would expect to see it. And then another point I would say is ask an experienced grant writer to review your grant before you submit it. Somebody will be able to look at it and say, hey, you have not written these objectives the way they should be written. This is how you should do it. And that's a skill to develop. So use resources wherever you can. And then finally, I would say be patient. As I mentioned before, you don't get every grant. And if you're just starting out, you probably won't get one until maybe your 4th try or maybe your 10th try. But don't give up. Keep writing and keep using those resources to hone in your skills. It's not as hard as it appears.
My next guest is the founder of a local nonprofit called Exotic Hair Cares. The founder is doing extraordinary things. She makes personalized wigs and hair pieces for people suffering with hair loss, whether it's from cancer or alopecia. And like many nonprofits, she finds herself taking money out of her pocket to provide her much needed service. So I sat down with Evelyn Metellus to show her how GrantWatch can help her. Take a look. Hi Evelyn, I'm so glad you stopped by today. I understand you have a nonprofit organization?
Yes,
And it's a 501c3?
it is 501c3, named Exotic Hair Care.
And what does it do?
We care for men and women suffering from hair loss. We help build self-confidence back in the community for men and women that's losing their hair, whether it's through cancer or anything else related to hair loss.
Wow. So many people depend on you.
Yes.
Really? And how have you been funding all your efforts?
I work and I funded it. If anyone walked into my door with a problem, whether they're going through chemotherapy or radiation, we just donate a wig to them, or we customize something that makes them feel like themselves again to help build back their self-confidence.
Wow, we need to find some funding for Evelyn. We really do. She's putting her hand in her pocket and she's supporting the cause that she's passionate about. So, Evelyn, you wanted to meet with me because I'm the CEO of Grant Watch and I want to help you, okay? So on Grant Watch, we have about 60 different categories to choose from when you're searching for a grant. So the first thing you're going to do is you're the recipient. The recipient is a nonprofit organization, and you're located in Florida, right? And you want to look for grants that you could use to fund what you're doing. So we need to look in a few different categories. I would look under mental health because I think that this is really important for people's mental health, to be able to feel good about themselves and have this self-respect. Unfortunately, the way things are, most people, admire people with beautiful hair, and some people just don't feel good about themselves. Others like to shave their head and go that way, but when it happens out of illness, people really feel badly. So we could look under mental health. You could also look under workforce development because you're creating those wigs, right? So you could teach other people, other women and men, how to create the wigs. And in doing that, while they're interning with you, they could be creating the wigs that you're giving away.
Absolutely.
Right?
We also help children. It's not just men and women. There's a lot of kids suffering from alopecia, different things. So we help them. We build their self-confidence.
Imagine what it feels like to be a child losing your hair and going to school and possibly being teased for that.
Yes.
And Evelyn solves that problem, and that's so commendable of you.
Thank you.
So, okay, so we could look under children, we could look under health, right? And when you're looking for grants, the most important thing is to check your eligibility, okay? So if a grant is only for business and you're a nonprofit, then you would just pass that one up. If the grant is for a nonprofit that's in existence 5 years, right, and you're only in existence 3 years, if that was the case, pass it up. Never think, hey, maybe they'll look away or whatever. Don't even bother, okay? Just stick to what they say they want. You want to meet, you want to check off all those boxes. And go through all the eligibility, everything they say. Next, if it looks like a good fit, you want to follow directions. Really follow directions. Sounds so simple, but you know what happens to grants when somebody doesn't follow a direction? They take it and they put it in the trash. So you want to make sure your grant gets into the second round. The first round is we're just going to go through the grants and see who followed the directions, who met the eligibility requirements. So you want to get there. Now they're reading your grant, right? It passed all the checklists. They're reading it. So what happens next? Okay. Now they're reading it and you don't want to bore them. How do you not bore them? You let your passion jump off the page. So you have to really think like a car salesman. He wants to sell that car, right? He's going to get his percentage. He's going to be able to feed his family and everything else. You have a passion for what you're doing, right? And you're selling what you are doing on paper. And we want to make sure that that comes across. So like you just said, these children, right? So you're going to find the need. You're going to look up the stats. You're going to find out how many children suffer from this, right? You're going to find out how many adults suffer, how it impacts on their mental illness. And then you're going to go look for best practices. What are the best practices that have been used before? And you're doing it because you're providing a solution, right? You're one of those people looking at the community and saying, we need to find a solution, and you're doing it grassroots, and we need to make it better and bigger, and in a way that you can actually replicate it in other states and towns and cities, exactly how you build your small nonprofit into a very large nonprofit.
Absolutely. I also have an NPI number which allows me to work with doctors, dermatologists, to write prescription for those suffering from hair loss. So it makes it easier for them. Sometimes insurance cover for it.
Oh, that's
But I haven't been fortunate to get to that part. So I just funded it myself.
Okay. And do you take donations of wigs from people and then you redo them? Do you ever do that?
We just started to doing that because the nonprofit started since 2014, and I didn't really know the way to go to ask for help. So I'm so glad I'm meeting with you.
Oh, I'm glad I'm meeting with you also, because if I can help and if I can make somebody's life a little better just by offering Grant Watch, it makes me happy too. So really, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our team has worked very hard for many years to make sure the website is user-friendly. I have been in development every working day since we started Grant Watch, and the process hasn't ended. And about the grants we post, 700 to 1,000 new grants that are currently available are posted each week. And we're still updating the website to keep up with the most current technology for our users.
Okay, so just to give a quick overview on the website, we are going to start by subscribing because that is actually super important. So we're going to sign up right here. I will use just your email, where you're from, your state, and your phone number. Once I have done this, I can just create my user ID. Okay, so it worked. What it's gonna do when you subscribe is it's gonna take you immediately to the paid subscription page. You don't have to sign up right then and there for that paid subscription, though we'd advise you to, because you get a lot access to a lot more resources when you do. But first, let's take a look around the website. So let's take a look at the category page first. So we have grants for lots of different categories, from aging and seniors, arts and culture, community development, domestic violence, elementary education. And remember that a lot of these categories overlap. So you might have an education grant that's under that category, and it also appears under the elementary education category. So right here, it's grants to Virginia local government agencies partnering with private internet service providers to extend broadband services to communities throughout the state. This is obviously really important. Broadband infrastructure expansion has been a huge priority for a lot of states, and in rural areas, there's just a lack of access to the internet, which we know impacts all kinds of things like healthcare and jobs, opportunities in the area. So that's going to be really important. If we go down a little further, there's all kinds of grants just on this like non-category specific page where just a lot of new grants have lined themselves up. So grants to Connecticut museums for support in the wake of coronavirus, because we have a lot of grants that the state and federal governments have allocated to deal with COVID-related funding issues. Museums got hit really hard during COVID, so this is really important. One of the benefits, if you're a paid subscriber, one of the resources is there, you'll see right here, it's this, you can't really do it if you're not, but it's an advanced keyword search. It allows you to even further narrow down what grants you're searching for by exact keyword. So it's actually quite similar to what you do on Google, but with quotes. This allows you to like get deep into what you're looking for, because some grants are just very hyper specific and you want to make sure you're finding it, and also time is money, you don't want to waste it. So you're going to use that. So once you're a paid subscriber, and I'll take you to that page really quick just in case you want to check it out. Once you're a paid subscriber, you can access that tool, and we've heard from a lot of our subscribers that it's actually incredibly helpful. So on this paid pricing and plans page, you're going to see it's $18 for the week, and then our best value package is $200 for the year, which is what a lot of nonprofits choose to do.
The main difference between GrantWatch and other grant websites is customer service. GrantWatch focuses on the grant seeker's needs and the customer's experience. We've developed Grant Writer Team so that nonprofits that need a grant writer can post a request for a professional grant writer and list up to 4 grants they need help with.
So before working at GrantWatch, I had never done customer service before. So having Libby as a mentor really guided me into the place that I'm at now. And I've been with the company for 5 years. So throughout those 5 years, I've definitely gained a lot of experience, and also from occasionally talking with Leanne about her experience with the company and her background. It's been so beneficial for how I speak to customers and how I chat with them via our live chat. And it's just been a great experience so far. So with other companies, they don't necessarily have customer service reps that will answer the phone on the first ring. And that's what Libby is so adamant about. Once the customer calls on that first ring, you want to make sure you grab that phone and contact them and speak to them right away. And then with our live chat, a lot of companies don't have that as well. So we're always there to live chat with them if they need a quick link, if they're new to the website. We're always there to help in many different ways. So we're all from different backgrounds. A lot of them are copy editors, writers. So together we make a great unison and a good team, and we're able to help our customers in different ways with that aspect. I love helping out community, and community is a big aspect for me. And so we get a lot of nonprofits, especially ones from food pantries, and they help families in need, they help the homeless. So those are always so important, and I always guide them to our categories because we have so many categories for them. And they are looking for food, for clothing, for just any sorts of donation, and we have so many categories that can help them out. We do have a lot of Florida companies that contact us. So there will be one in a very local county, and they're just starting out their nonprofit. They've just got their 501c3, and they're starting a food pantry within their community. Sometimes they're doing pop-ups at school. So they've contacted us, they need the help. So we guide them kind of to the exact grant that they could apply for. We really help them out. I always feel it's close to heart whenever I talk to the customers when they're needing assistance. I know it hits home to everyone on our team, but I always really want to make sure I guide them in the right direction in some way that I can. I never want to leave them hanging because you can sense the urgency in their call, and any way that I can help, even if it's guiding them to a website for grants.gov where the government can help them if we can't provide them with any help. So I always try to make sure that they get some sort of help. Yeah, like I mentioned before, I mentioned that we're all from different backgrounds. So when we all put our efforts and our backgrounds together, some aspects we might not know, so we can learn from each other. And then when our customers call, we can really guide them in the way that we know best. So there was an animal shelter here in Palm Beach County, and they have dogs, cats, and they were really needing to build new infrastructure for their shelters. And they were also needing donations such as towels and blankets. So we were able to guide them to the correct categories that they can look through and search. And we also give specific keywords that you can use our keyword search. So she would search infrastructure, donations, pets, dogs, any of that. And we really helped to guide her to the exact grant that she could apply for. And she would call us all the time with updates, and we would check in with her to check the status. And it was really it hit home to all of us because we've always grown up with pets, and we always checked in with her, and it was really heartwarming for all of us on our team to find out that all of our hard work really paid off and benefited her.
Leanne, I just received a check from an organization that has been with us for over 12 years. I can't believe how many nonprofits, small businesses, and individuals have been with GrantWatch for such a long time. And they wouldn't be with us unless they were finding grants and winning grants. We've developed such great relationships with many companies nonprofits, towns, school districts, religious organizations, universities, veteran-serving organizations. It's unbelievable.
You're right. And so many of our subscribers have sent in videos. Let me show you just a few of them.
Hi, I'm with Habitat for Humanity of Benton County. We just want to say a special thank you to Grant Watch for connecting us with some amazing foundations who have helped us build more homes in Benton County. This home behind us, we just finished for a family of 3, and now we're going to break ground on the second home. Thank you to the Sunderland Foundation and the Willard and Pat Walker Foundation for their generous support of these projects. We are so grateful to Grant Watch, and we really appreciate all the support as we help more families know a safe and stable and affordable home.
Hey everyone, my name is Bob Heitkamp and I'm the Executive Director for Marketplace for Kids in North Dakota. And I just wanted to let you all know, yes, Grant Watch works. We have been a member of Grant Watch for about 5 or 6 years now. And last year, even during the pandemic, we managed to find a foundation that was giving grants away last year, Richland Wilkin Community Foundation. We applied for that grant and were chosen to receive the $2,000 grant for our program to help us virtualize our programming. And that was a pretty cool thing for them. So I just wanted to say cheers everyone. Keep going to Grant Watch for your grants. So
if you need a grant or are interested in finding out more about Grant Watch services, there are many ways you can reach us. By phone, 561-249-4129, or send us an email, support@grantwatch.com.
As we mentioned before, our website is grantwatch.com. And if you want to check us out on social media, you can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Grant Watch, or on Instagram at GrantsWatch with an S.
You can also reach us at support@grantwatch.com. We thank you for joining us, and I leave you with these closing thoughts. Check your eligibility, follow directions, and let your passion jump off your page. The way I see it, where we're at right now, is nonprofits are calling us, and now we have businesses and we have individual grants, and we have to make sure that we have alternatives for people that call when we don't have a grant for them. Right, we have to have more resources. That's what they need. And we have to figure out like how we can possibly divide up the website even to smaller regions, because right now we're doing all the states.
Well, you know, Libby, throughout my 5 years at Grant Watch, I've learned so much. When I first started, I knew nothing about grants, grant writers, basically not even how nonprofits operate. So I've learned so much throughout these 5 years, and I've loved working with all the team and getting to know everyone on a personal basis.
So good to hear that.
Oh, it's been so much fun, and I've learned so much. The experience has been great.
Yeah, working with a family business is
challenging.
Working with a family business is great because I get to learn entrepreneurship and business sense from the beginning for the last decade, through college and afterwards. And I think I know a lot about grants by now.
Oh yes, you do. You write so many articles for us,
Oh my God.
and the articles get such a great reaction. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to training the next generation of nonprofit leaders in grants and in grant writing. I want to see how far we can take this.
There's so many possibilities ahead, so many opportunities for build teams to develop this next generation of nonprofit leaders and grant writers. There's just so much ahead.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to expand my knowledge learning from you how to write grants, because I've never learned it before, but I feel like once we sit down, you can really teach me all of it. There's so much to look forward to. I'm really excited.
Me too.